Hi, I am Lenur and I am a Crimean Tatar. And while I said Tatar, you might thought about something like this. Or more of this. Right, be scared of me, because I will come back and reclaim my territory. So this video is going to be about most common questions about who the Crimean Tatars are. Straight to the point, question number 1. Are the Crimean and Volga Tatars the same? No, we are not. Though we bear the same name, it doesn't mean that we are totally the same nation. So you might ask me, so why do you bear the same name? To answer that, we need to go back into the history. So this name comes from one nation that gave the root to both Crimean and Volga Tatars, whose name we still bear in both nations. That is why. In history, that nation is known by different names. So in Europe, this nation was known as Kuman and Kipchak. For Slavs, that nation was known as Polovtsy, but that is all the same thing. It is we are, and we called ourselves Tatar from long ago till now. Question number 2. Did Tatar people come to Crimea with Mongols? Of course not! As I previously said, Tatar people lived in Crimea long before the Mongolian invasion. And it is well known that during the Mongolian invasion, many nations tried to fight back, but they were invaded in the end. So did we. There is a Battle of Kauka in which Mongolian people won, and that is how they established their own, let's say, country, right? Confederation, a country named Golden Horde, right? But it doesn't mean that the natives of that territory suddenly became Mongol. That's not possible. Yes, there might be a portion of assimilation. It is possible and it is logical. Yes, the rulers were of Mongolian proper, but the people were still who they are. And the interesting moment is that after several centuries, even those Mongolian rulers became Turkified. And I'm not speaking about Turkish people, I'm speaking about Turkic people, which is a different thing, right? Turkic people are the people speaking Turkic languages. There is plenty of them. Yeah, not only Turkish, but a lot of them. We are also a Turkic-speaking nation. And so what I'm trying to say is that all those rulers of Mongolian proper, after a while, after assimilation and mixing, became Turkified. Because they were, from now on, they were bearing the language, the Turkic language, they were bearing the culture, the traditions, and after a while, in the beginning of 14th century, they even adopt Islam as the religion, which made even, which brought the unification. And to justify my words, I can give you one example. There is a dictionary written by some sources in the middle of 10th century or 11th century, by other sources in the 12th, 13th, 14th centuries, but the only original paper which is still preserved in the museum dates back to the beginning of 14th century. If I'm not mistaken, it's 1303. So nevertheless, it's the dictionary written in Crimea by that time, and in that dictionary, the language that is given is named itself as Tatar Tili, which means Tatar language. The dictionary was written in Crimea, which means that people living in Crimea speaking Turkic language were calling themselves Tatar back into that time, which means they were not Mongols, which means they were not calling themselves Mongols, or they were calling themselves by the name given by other nation. No, people were calling themselves Tatar even back in those times because it's autonym. What is autonym? Is the name that a particular nation calls itself. And I would like to mention it one more time, is that the religion which was adopted in 1312, if I'm not mistaken, for the whole Golden Horde, the religion played a huge role in unification, because it is well known that Crimea was a place where many nations lived and mixed, but the religion brought that unity and made the nation together, I guess. All right, and the question number 3. Is Crimean Tatar is just a dialect of Turkish? No. Crimean Tatar is a distinct language from Turkish, all right? And many people are confused by the word Turkish and by these two words, Turkish and Turkic. Turkish is used only for people living in Turkey, right? Those from Turkey. Turkic is a term used for all the nations speaking Turkic languages, right? There are plenty of them, like Kazakh, Uzbek, Crimean Tatar, Volga Tatar, Nogai, Karachay-Malkar, whatever, so many of them, and they're all can be called Turkic. Turkish people are also Turkic, but other nations are not Turkish, they're Turkic. I think you get the point, right? Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that a Crimean Tatar language is a totally distinct language from Turkish and other Turkic languages. It is not a dialect of something, it is a whole language bearing its own history and its own rules and everything that language can have. Many people are confused and they say, wow, Crimean Tatar language sounds so Turkish for me. Yes, it might sound Turkish for you because we are coming from the same language family, maybe? And also many people say that Crimean Tatar language went through huge Oguzification. I don't know if this word exists in English, but what I mean is that they say that Crimean Tatar language bears a lot of words, loan words from Oguz languages. Well, from one side, I kinda agree that we did take some words from Turkish. It is possible, but from other side, I do understand that we were not Oguzified. We just took some loan words, which makes sense because we live not far. And also, the other part of me tells that actually the branch of the language that our language is in is between Kipchak languages and Oguz languages, because we actually do sound half Kipchak, half Oguz. And it is normal, it doesn't mean that we were Oguzified or Kipchakified. It's just us in between. Well, that's all I wanted to share today. And if you noticed any mistakes that I probably made in my video, or if you want to ask me some more questions, feel free, write down in comments. Bye bye. Oh my god, English!